Well, over the past few days, we've been talking about violence against women, with Sunday marking the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And also tens of thousands of people marched across Europe, that was on Saturday, against sexist violence. A new UN study says that home is the most dangerous place for a woman, and that more than half of the women that were murdered around the world last year were killed by their partners or by their family members. Now, women's rights is one theme that's been adopted by organisers of an international festival of films shot entirely on mobile phones. We can now welcome to the program the festival's founder, Bruno Smadja. Thanks for being on the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, the Mobile Film Festival's been going for 14 years. It's all about finding talented young filmmakers, who are out there and giving them support. Each year, the theme of the festival touches on a specific cause. This year, that cause is human rights, as we celebrate the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Now, before we get to all of that, first of all, let's get a clear picture for our listeners of what this festival entails. So the top line on the website is 1 mobile, 1 minute, 1 film. Are the rules as simple as that?
Yes, as simple as that. And this is the goal from the beginning, is to make it the most accessible as possible, to give the chance to anybody to be part of it. But in the same time, we have to be very selective. So the mobile, everybody can have a mobile with a camera in his pocket or have access to one. But making a story of 1 minute needs to be a good storyteller. And that's what makes the difference. The absolutely open opportunity for everybody to be involved in. And on the other side, the very selective 1 minute storytelling.
Right, so all needs to be shot on a smartphone. I imagine editing, special effects, some of that might be able to be done afterwards.
Yeah.
So tell us, what do you look for in this type of film, and what's the key to making a really great movie in 1 minute?
We're looking for good filmmakers. We're looking for good stories. We're looking for... on one side, entertainment could be good, like the one we're watching in this moment. Good documentaries. We're looking about emotion, like everybody in the film industry. And what makes a good story in 1 minute? It was our previous president of the jury of the 13th editions, Patrice Lecomte, who was candidate at the Oscar many years ago, and he said, in 1 minute you have one idea. And don't try to put too many ideas in 1 minute, because you get lost, and the audience too.
Right, so I guess, it's about having that one great idea that will stick in the jury's minds. The festival, as I said, it's been going for 14 years. It started in 2005. I know that my mobile phone back in 2005 was pretty primitive, so I imagine the technology has come a long way in that time. How do the films of today compare to the films back then when the festival started?
So when the festival started, it was funny. Before I had the idea and developed the concept, I was working for a mobile manufacturer, and it was a very boring job. But they gave us all the time a new mobile to test. So that's where the idea came from. They were giving me a mobile with a camera, one of the first on the market. And I went to some friends, filmmakers, and I said, okay, what can we do with that? So the quality was very bad, but the idea was that everybody will have it in his pocket very soon, very cheap, and the quality will go higher and higher. To compare them in terms of quality, now we have 4K, HD. Almost all of the smartphones are like that. It's very hard, obviously, in terms of quality. But in terms of storytelling, there were already at that time very good ideas.
Now, just to be clear, does it cost anything to enter, and how many entries do you have this year?
Nothing. It has to cost nothing to make it. Yeah, to make it equal for everybody, that could be from United States, from Africa, from Asia, because we receive film from 81 countries. We receive more than 700 films from 81 countries.
Okay, gee, that's a lot. Let's look at some of the entries then, shall we? As we said, this year participants were asked to make films around the theme Stand Up for Human Rights. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights is one of several partners to the Mobile Film Festival. This year we're marking the 70th anniversary of the Declaration, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So can you just explain how the timing of the festival ties in with this theme?
So we started in August. Until 11th of October, people can send us some films. And then we, the organizers, are making the selection of 51 films. And then we are promoting them from the November the 6th till tomorrow. The audience could be able to vote. And the jury will meet all together tonight in a Parisian restaurant to watch the film and to decide who's they're going to give the awards. But I won't say anything.
No spoilers.
So we're very happy because we already reached 18 million views over those 51 little films from unknown people. And this is a very important argument I had from the beginning of the project. It was to consider that at that time the first mobile camera were coming out, and it was time of happy slapping. I don't know if you remember this strange habit where people were walking on the subway or on the street and were giving huge slaps, and they were shooting on the video and putting them online. And so people told me, but it's very violent. People will use it to get violence. And I said, no. If you give them the opportunity to be creative, they will use it to be very creative, filmmaking and inventing new stories.
Happy slaps, not painful ones.
No, they were very painful.
They were painful, not like a slap on the back.
No. They were very violent and very aggressive. And it lasts like a few years where people were using their mobile camera for such aggressive behavior.
Oh, incredible.
But at the same time, we were proposing to be creative, to make stories, and it works.
There are subcategories under this broad umbrella category of human rights. There's children's rights, migrants' rights, racism, also, as we said, women's rights. In Paris on Saturday, we saw 30,000 people march against male violence. So let's focus under that category of human rights. Now, the films that were on the website, part of those 51 finalists, they covered issues from sexual harassment to domestic violence, inequality, also female genital mutilation. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those particular entries and the ones that stood out for you?
When we decided with the UN to speak about human rights, we leave everything open to the filmmakers to decide what they wanted to talk about. And not surprisingly, we receive a majority of films speaking about women's rights. And this is very important. And this lasts for many years, where we do receive every year films speaking about them. It's very important for us that they decided to put their camera on this specific topic, because as you just mentioned before our talk, and as a UN announcement yesterday about the fact that home is the most dangerous place in the world for women. This is just amazing. I mean, this is the most frightening thing we can hear about that. One Turkish film speaks about it, and it's very interesting because all the other women in the neighborhood are hearing this woman beaten by her husband, and they use these techniques of using wood spoon to make some noise and to make a shame the husband that is living at the end of the film, and this is what we were also looking is to have, because you can always show violence with no reason. Just violence. But we wanted to have something more, something where the women are defending themselves, something where the women are getting out more powerful than they than to receive this violence. The Charming Prince, which is I think a beautiful film in terms of filmmaking, shooting, and everything, and also it's based on
a fairy tale.
A fairy tale we all been grown up. That she's sleeping and a wonderful guy is coming and he's allowed to kiss her, but no,
without her permission.
Without her permission.
And instead of reacting,
and she should be very happy.
Sleeping Beauty does in the fairy tale.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of reacting with happiness and pleasure, what does she do?
She just look at him and she starts to say, no, you can't. And he starts beating her because he considers that this position is his position and he won't be questioned about that. There's another one is, if I have time to speak
Please,
about it, thank you. It's Maybe Tomorrow. And it speaks about the most simplest things that we all do every morning, choose our clothes. How we're gonna get out to go on the subway, to go to the work, to go to school, and everything. And it explains how much it could be complex for half of the world population, and could be an interrogation. Should I be aggressed? Should I be insulted? Should I be humiliated because I decide to wear this clothes or these clothes?
Yeah, that film particularly stuck out with me. There was another one that was very similar to it, about sexual harassment in the streets, and the woman in Maybe Tomorrow decides to change the way that she dresses because she understands that if she wears fitted clothing, if she wears makeup, that will invite unwanted sexual attention.
Yeah.
So do you feel that your films are, in a way, contributing to the social debate on these themes? Is that why you choose to have particular themes?
I hope so. I mean, it's definitely the goal. I mean, when you're making 18 million views, we're having a huge feminine audience in Mexico, for example, and especially on films talking about murders of women that are very huge in Mexico. I think this is part of the debate, yes.
And so were there more parallels, do you think, in the way that women were treated across the different countries in which the films were made? Were there parallels, or were there differences for cultural reasons? Did you notice a trend?
There are definitely some common elements, and especially regarding home violence. So this could happen anywhere, in any house, in any culture, but there are others that like excision. You say excision?
Female genital mutilation,
okay,
FGM
sorry.
in English. Yeah.
FGM, sorry. Like FGM that are specific to certain region where they terribly still apply to women, and also some forced marriage to a little girl that happen not everywhere in the world. So it depends on the situation, and some countries like there is a beautiful film from Iran called Hush, and is using a lot of new technologies like Siri. From the Apple phone, and they use the technology to recognize the voice, to get connected at distance, and when they get connected, I let the audience discover what's happened. But it's really terrible.
And just lastly, Bruno, before we let you go, tell us about the prizes. There's money up for grabs here.
Yeah, because as you said at the beginning, our goal is to support those young filmmakers and to help them to become professionals. So we set up some grants with our partners, YouTube, the European Union, and we give free grants of 20,000 euro. for each film: international best film, European best film, and French best film. And we will support them to have the opportunity to shoot their film with a professional material, with a big team. They will be supported by a producer to have the opportunity to raise more money and to make a bigger and more beautiful film.
Bruno Smadja, founder of the Mobile Film Festival. Thanks very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
And just for our listeners, to see the array of 51 finalists at that film festival, head along to their website. That's mobilefilmfestival.com.